Welcome back. One to you because it's been a minute. One to us because it's been a minute. Um, Apologies on missing last week's episode. Life happens, and it's just how it is. Luckily, we're not gonna miss out on anything. And we got another episode coming tonight. It's actually gonna encompass what we were planning on talking about last week, as well as taking a look at Valorant today. We got the chance to see some pretty good Valorant over the last week that we would have missed out on had we filmed an episode last week. So I know as much as I um, talk ourselves out of the fact that we missed an episode, and it's not the worst thing in the world. We missed it, and that's all good because we're gonna cover it tonight. But just feels good to be back. Feels good to be recording a podcast. I've started to look forward to this time and the fun stuff that we get to chat about, the fun stuff that we get to produce, and it's always nice whenever you just get able to have good conversations with a friend about something that you both enjoy. So, Popey, I'm glad we're back. I'm glad we're at it again, and looking forward to being able to catch up a little bit tonight.
Yeah, 100%. I agree. I missed it, and I feel like there's a lot we need to talk about.
Yeah. So in the world we live in, which is NA challengers. That's the driving point of a lot of the Valorant that I consume, that we consume, that I'm sure a lot of people consume, a lot of you consume, right? Um, the mid-season face-off just finished up,
Mhm.
and M80 is able to topple G2 Esports in a 3-1 grand final. Whenever I look at this bracket, it looks not how I would have pictured it. Starting the season, this isn't how I would have drawn out the bracket to happen. Um, who was your biggest? They, I'd say biggest. Who was your most underwhelming performance whenever it comes to a team in this midseason face-off?
Um, I guess FaZe, just because of who they are, like as an org, and they've got a lot of flashiness on their team. They have some solid players. I mean, Rossi used to play for TSM, really solid. Baby Bay, Dicey, both really solid. Poised and Superman used to play for Rise whenever Rise was really good. So it's just pretty disappointing. I mean, they did play two really good teams. They had to play the guard first round, and then in the lower bracket they had to play G2 because G2 got surprise upset by Oxygen.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so I guess now that I'm thinking about that, that's low key understandable. But still, I mean, they didn't even win a map.
Yeah,
Um, so I personally really like Baby Bay, so just sad to see them get knocked out so fast.
yeah. To me, this tournament was pretty interesting. FaZe and Disguised not winning a map probably shocked me a little bit. Um, my biggest thing with FaZe is as I watched them throughout Split One, it just felt like they were very unrefined. They weren't polished. They felt more just recreational than any other team in
Yeah,
the Challengers League. They just felt like they were kind of running in, playing it like comp.
that's how FaZe has always
But yeah, I
played
mean, it's
though.
very
Kind of a
characteristic of
weird way.
FaZe.
Yeah.
But I just think at this level, I mean, that's the reason why they're not a tier 1 org is
Mhm.
because there's just a level of professionalism, a next level of how you play the game that you're just going to get punished if you run in and continue to play like FaZe do. So that to me was kind of interesting to see, but my biggest upset I think had to be TSM. I thought whenever they made their kind of mid-split changes with Kanpeki, um, that they had some really good potential going forward. I was really excited to see how they'd perform. Um, and I felt like they kind of fell flat. Um, 2-0'd by Moist. They beat Disguise pretty handily and then lose to Oxygen. Both the Oxygen game and the Moist Moguls game, there was just nothing from TSM that inspired me. There was nothing that was like, you know what? Like I made a good pick in TSM. It was just an off day. Like whenever I was watching those games, I just didn't feel like they deserve to win. And that kind of sucks because I feel like they have the potential to. I feel like they
Mm.
have the potential to compete at a very high level, but nothing about their current gameplay made me confident in their ability to win a game. Now, on the flip side of this same conversation, right? There were some teams who performed. There were some teams who performed really, really well. Obviously, whenever you and I built our tier list, beginning of the season, one of the I think I want to say like episode 2, episode 3, we had M80 in the guard above everybody else. Upper final, we had M80 in the guard. We had a pretty solid game out of it. Um, a lot of individuals playing well. I know Jonah P was pretty frustrated with how he played, but just getting it to go to a game 3 and then 11-13 in that game 3, pretty evenly matched teams. But I think we all have to give G2 the credit they deserve for performing at a level that was much higher than a lot of people would have bet on. Now, what people are going to say is they're like, oh, obviously G2 is going to succeed. Shazam, tier 1, Dapper, like high tier 1 level guys. Like, obviously they were good enough. People weren't riding the G2 train coming into the Challengers League. Like, there were
Nope.
some lovers, but I'd say there were a lot more haters. There was a lot more conversation on Shazam is washed.
Yeah.
Dapper is just not as good as he was anymore. There was a lot of doubters, and they went on a run to prove a lot of doubters wrong.
Yeah.
So I thought their run was extremely impressive. I think the best team still won the tournament. I think M80 is the best team. I know M80 is the best team based on this as well. I think this tournament did a good job of showing that. What was kind
Yeah.
of your big positive performance and your overall thoughts on the tournament winners M80?
Yeah, I mean, I'm sad because I like the guard better than M80 personally. I really like Trent. I was rooting for the guard whenever I was watching the upper final. Just a little thing I had just noticed was in the upper final when M80 played the guard. Well, I noticed this whenever I watched the upper final, but I didn't watch the lower final. The guard on map 3 was up 11-9, and then M80 won 4 in a row to end map 3
Hmm.
and win 13-11. And then in the lower final, the guard was up 11-9 on map 3 against G2, and then G2 won 4 in a row to win 13-11. So the same thing happened to the guard to lose the upper final and the lower final.
It's gonna be a
Um,
tough day in the office whenever the analyst looks at that and brings it up. He's like, "Hey, you guys, just want you guys to know that you choked both map threes."
Choked 11-9, like didn't even get it to overtime. You had 4 chances to just win 1 round. And map 3 for the upper final was Haven, map 3 for the lower final was Ascent, and both times the 4 rounds they lost in a row were all like defensive rounds. So
Oh
they were
no.
on defense and they lost to an attacking round. So that was 8 defensive rounds where both times they just needed to win 1 round to push it to overtime. Yeah, I don't know. That's just tragic.
Mentally,
But
like, what does that do to a player? Does that ruin you
um,
for the next split, or does that motivate you to come back better?
um, I would take it as motivation personally. Obviously it'd be sad in the moment, but realize like we had we had the talent to be in that position. Like in another way this story is written, right? If we can just win 2 rounds in the upper final against M80, then hey, it's us in the grand final.
Mm-hmm.
Like we go straight to the grand final rather than M80. And so everyone's talking about how M80 is the best team, dominant, and I agree with it. It's just
Yeah.
sad that like Valorant is that close on margins where
Mm-hmm.
like if the guard can just convert 2 out of those 4 rounds, they push forward. Um, but yeah, I am impressed with G2. I was not thinking very highly of them either. Um, Zam and Dapper, and then two of X version 1 players, Whippy and Penny,
Yep.
performing really well, and then Oxy, like just a ranked warrior coming out of
Yeah.
nowhere, and now he's cracked. Yeah, I think they have a really good team. Really
Yeah.
impressed.
Oxy was stupid. I started seeing people start to do the Oxy to Sin Tens comparison whenever Tens was starting his like real pop off, kind of building his name.
Yeah,
Oxy's kind of crazy, dude.
it's just like reflexes that make 0 sense.
Yeah,
Shots that make 0 sense.
super fun to watch.
Yeah.
Um, of the top 4 teams to finish in this split, M80, the Guard, Oxygen, and G2, do you see anybody performing good enough to get potentially poached and go into the tier 1 scene?
Yeah, I think 100% M80. Like, they're just super solid. Like, um, let me think. Like John Cutie, I think really highly of him.
Mhm.
Uh, I think I guess he plays Sentinel, but also is sort of like a fill.
Mhm.
I'm not sure where a good fill would be, but there has to be a place for him. Xander is like an incredible smokes player. Like, I feel like he could be picked. I've always thought really highly of EU, even when he played for NRG. I was like so surprised that they dropped him.
Yeah.
I know they dropped him for the optic core, but like EU, like low key was carrying NRG in a lot of places. Um, and then the guard, I mean, Trent is ridiculous. Um, yeah, I mean, honestly, I think highly of the guard team.
Yeah, it'll be
Uh,
interesting to see how some of these teams, how some of these orgs, which is probably more important to say, how they kind of thinned off the poachers. Because some
yeah,
of them, I think of the Guard, right? If they're looking at exiting esports, essentially, and I saw something today where TSM is also considering exiting esports, which would be removing their Valorant team, right? So,
all esports.
yeah. So I didn't do a ton of research on looking in the tweet, but I saw a tweet scroll across the feed that
What are
TSM
they
was
gonna do? They're
thinking
gonna
of,
like just totally switch business.
yeah,
Like they're just gonna be like, hey, we make paper now.
yeah,
What are they gonna do?
they're dipping. But it'll be interesting because I could see those kind of teams if someone comes in and they're like, yeah, hey, we'll give you um a bunch of money for, I don't know, Xander, right? Does the Guard take it? They're already exiting esports. Like their goal to make tier 1 next year? I don't know. They might just cash out, like take their money and run. Whereas
Get
a
your
team
money.
like G2 might fight a little bit harder to keep their core if they're performing at a high level, right? If someone tries to pull a Shazam, if someone tries to pull Oxy, I mean, you could see Oxy getting an offer if he's playing cracked like this.
Yeah.
You could see a team trying to poach that. I'd be interested to see how much G2 is willing to fight to keep some of those guys if their goal truly is getting to tier 1. I think you're going to
Yeah.
see some of these orgs that are just in it for the money and they're down to cash out. I think those are going to be the teams where you see players start to disappear from.
Yeah, I agree. I've never heard of M80, so I don't even know if they're an actual org. Um, really not sure. I'm assuming that those guys are like 100% gonna get poached.
Yeah.
Maybe not all of them, but because it's not like a massive org that I know about, those guys are definitely getting picked up. I think G2, because it's more of a well-known org, it's probably like more in the interest of the org not to just cash out, but
Yeah.
to try to actually make it. Because G2 literally had a spot, but then like the whole thing happened with Carlos or whatever his name was, um, with Andrew Tate, and then they
Mm-hmm.
lose their spot. So it's like they literally were supposed to be there. This is almost like righting the wrong that happened with Carlos. Um, the guard and Oxygen. I think Oxygen probably would try to go for it too, because they seem like they're pretty well established. But maybe the guard just straight cashes out.
Yeah. Yeah, I think the Oxygen goes for it too because they were one of the teams that made it in through the open qualifiers. I don't think they have anything to lose.
Yeah, and I think like the Oxygen like as an esports organization seems pretty solid, like well funded, backed, even though they're new.
Well, it's Robert
Uh,
Kraft. Is the guy who owns the Patriots and Kraft
yeah,
Foods, and they
exactly. So
they got money.
I think they're going for bigger goals than just cashing out. They're
Yep.
trying to make a name.
Yep. I get behind it. Cool. Well, it's been a fun first split. I'm looking forward to split two and seeing how much changes up. But Popey and I were thinking about, what we could bring to the table, to look at Valorant in the game, not just the esports world, not just the updates, but truly just having a dive and look at the game and having conversation around the way that the game is right now. Um, and one thing that I think we both wanted to talk about, I think what we saw in lock in at Sao Paulo is a lot of exploration post chamber nerf. We sat in the chamber meta for so long that comps got very stagnant. You knew what to play, you knew how to play it, and everyone ran the same thing pretty much, besides Navi and Fnatic and Paper Rex. Um, what I wanted to look at now is in lock in, you started to see some of that creativity come back that makes Valorant interesting. You got to see comp diversity, you got to see teams trying new things, approaching old maps in new ways. And with that comes ultimate abilities. Um, those have ebbed and flowed throughout the year. There's been changes made, and with the addition of Gecko, you now have the first two use ultimate in the game. And what we wanted to do is we wanted to create a tier list. Woo! Create a tier list ranking each ultimate in the game designated by the agent they come from. Now, whenever I was thinking through this earlier, some of the factors that I and Popey want to go through is obviously cost of ultimate, how many ult points it costs, round changing potential, how effective is this ult in a round, and then counter potential, like how easy is it actually to play against, and then you can kind of just throw in one with like overall strength. Overall strength of all, I think, would be just a good one as well. But just focusing on kind of those, four core things. And I'm good to dive on in and start going through them if you are.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, I believe these are in alpha. No, they are not in alphabetical order. They're in order that they came out. So let's start with my boy Breach. I'm down for you to kick us off.
Yeah, sure. Sorry, I was trying to verify that it wasn't alphabetical order,
Yeah,
and
Astro's too far down.
you are correct. Um, yeah. I guess. Do you want to start just in order left or right?
Yeah, let's go left to right.
Okay, so Breach. I freaking hate Breach's ult. Stupid freaking Breach's ult. Oh, I hate it so much. When you're stunned, dude, whenever I play Breach and I stun people, I'm like thinking, this is a free kill.
Yeah.
So I swing around the corner. I'm like, I'm about to pop this guy. He's stunned. I saw him get like shot up in the air from the Breach ult. I turn around the corner, he one taps me. I'm like, bro, that has happened
Oh yeah.
so many times. So Baricho gets at best from me a C,
At,
but
at
I
best,
want to put it in the D.
I think the way that Breach Ult is now, especially that they bumped it up to 8 alt points, so they made it more expensive.
Freaking hate Breach Ult, dude. And
It
I play
it
him
used
free.
to be so trustworthy. I used to love that ult. Um, I'm gonna I'm gonna say we put it in high D tier right now, and if we need to come back and revisit it later, we can. But I think
See,
that ult is the most troll ult in the game.
I basically only use it to like stall and like win post plant scenarios. Like I never use it to like legitimately like try to get kills. Sorry, I could rant about this. Dude, I freaking hate Breach Ult.
All good. Brimstone.
I think Brim's ult is pretty solid. But how solid?
When I think of
Um,
round winning potential, if you have a Brim who knows a lineup, all you gotta do is get the spike to 20 seconds left on attack.
yeah.
It's game
They never
over.
do that in pro though. I'm
Yes,
it is
in
so
pros.
yeah, but you never really see a pro team like just pulling out the Brim lineup with the
Yeah.
ult.
You never see a lot of pros playing post plant ults. You
Yeah,
have
like they don't get to the post plant.
on the maps that Brim is played on, his ult
Yes.
is very good.
Yeah.
Like,
But it's just good in general, not just for post plant.
yeah, like clearing
His ult is
tower
super
on
good on
fracture
fracture.
B site, clearing site on A. Whenever bind was in rotation, clearing.
Super good on mine.
Yeah,
Um, I I don't know. It's definitely at least a B for me
yeah.
because I think that it's very simple, but it's like it's strong because it's like so powerful. It hits so hard. I might want to pull it up to an A, but we'll see.
Okay. Cipher.
I like Cypher's ult, the info,
I think
especially
it's
now
one
that
of the best ults in the
it
game.
it pings twice and you can get it so fast. It's only 6. Um, yeah, I'm gonna go either A or S. It's pretty strong.
If you are on a orb heavy map, and if you are playing intentionally for your ult, there's no reason you don't use a Cypher ult at least 3.5 times,
Wait, like
probably
5
4.
times I
Yeah.
have. It's only 6.
Like you just get, 10 kills and a half. You die 8 times. That's 3 ults and you've not grabbed an orb.
Yeah.
Um I think it's a phenomenal ultimate. I think it's underutilized. The buff to it recently, I think was super super strong.
Yeah.
Especially, one part I think about that buff that was probably underappreciated was just the range that you have to be within the body to be able to throw the hat.
You
And
can chuck that thing.
yeah, increasing that, you got a whole boom, like a whole frisbee you throwing at the thing. So
You can chuck it.
I'm gonna put it high A tier for right now, because I don't think it's I think it lacks the factor to like absolutely win you around whenever you use
Yeah,
it. But I think it's incredibly solid.
agree.
Alrighty, Jet.
I think A totally flips. It totally flips eco rounds because you can just pull out the knives and basically have the power of a run and gun vandal.
Mm-hmm.
If you're nasty.
I would say the skill ceiling skill gap is pretty large on the Jet knives.
Yeah, I mean, I think if you're a really good jet, it's round changing.
So,
Like because theoretically, if you don't have that and you're doing a regular eco, it's like, oh, we have 5 deagles fighting against vandals. But then if a jet updraft dash instantly shoot kills one guy,
mm-hmm,
turns gets knives back, shoot kills another guy. Now it's a 3. Now it's a 5v3.
mm-hmm.
It's like we have 2 guns.
I I think maybe we missed an opportunity to add a factor, and it's like ease of use. Cypher ult, easy use.
So
you
easy.
you
Whoosh.
walk up to a dead body, you throw it. Like Fade ult, easy use. Jet ult, jet knives, Not easy.
That's true. You have to be nice.
Not easy. And it used to be even better. So think to old jet knives. You just constantly right click, and if you get a kill, you get them back.
So easy.
That's S tier for sure.
Yeah.
I don't think the current state of the jet ult you can say that that's S tier.
Yeah, no, I don't think it's S tier. I was thinking A or B. Well, when a jet is nasty, it's S tier.
When jet's nasty, it's S tier. But I'd say for the average jet, you gonna
I
say
agree.
like low A, like under Cypher.
Yeah.
Okay. Omen. If you're in bronze, it's the best ult in the game.
So good. I think kind of dookiness.
Anywhere above bronze, everyone knows how the how it's played.
They know where you're TPing.
Yeah.
I mean, I play a lot of Omen, and I think it's good to like you can like pick up the bomb when it's down.
Yeah.
It's kind of the only thing I
It's
use
the
it
only
for.
real use case for it now.
Um, I'd say C.
I think it's above the breach ult. You think the
Oh yeah,
omen is
it's definitely
more
above Breach.
you think that the omen ult is more round changing than a breach ult?
Yeah,
More round
100%.
securing? Really?
100%. I
I
win so many rounds with the Omen ult. I win so many rounds where like I just zip it and I get it and they're never expecting it. Yeah, I'm probably wrong. Just put it under the breach ult.
I
But
was gonna say, I have such a
just
hard time
I hate the
believing that
breach ult.
justification.
I hate the breach ult, dude. I love the Omen ult. I can just scoop the bomb. Nice.
All right, Phoenix ult.
Uh, really good, but your body is unprotected.
Really easy to use. 6 ult points.
No, it's 7 now.
Is it 7 now?
Yeah.
Makes sense. I feel like 6 was probably a little too much or a little too cheap. I think there's
But it
just
was
going to be a
6.
point in the game where everything gets to 8 ult points.
I agree.
They just keep
It's so
bumping them
annoying.
up.
I'm pretty positive it's up to 7, but I think it's B, but it's under Brim.
I can get behind it. Because you do have to rely on your teammates a little bit.
Yeah, it's like it leaves you vulnerable if they quick flank.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I think Razel is kind of bad at really high levels. They always kill the Raze, and the Raze usually gets one. But I'm telling you, like they kill the Raze that ults like 80% of the time because
Yeah.
they can just hit the head.
Hit the head or it's a massive target flying through the air. I don't think it's got the round changing potential. And also, there is, along with jet knives, there's a pretty decent amount of skill that is required to double satchel or even just satchel with raise ult. Like the benefit of the raise ult is you get above and then you can ult into the ground. Just because if you
Yeah,
don't, your ult's just gonna fly. Like you need somewhere for your ult to hit.
yeah,
There is a level of skill that's required there. And then you
I agree.
have so many clips online of people hitting someone almost directly with an ult and the raise ult, and it just doesn't kill them.
Yeah, the result sucks now of like power.
Yeah.
I'd put it pretty low, either C or better than Breach D.
I'm cool to go see.
Yeah, that's cool.
Cool. Sage Resurrection.
S
S tier.
S. You can literally bring someone back to life.
Easy
So
use.
round changing.
Easy use. Super round changing. Yeah.
Why every uwu girl plays Sage. So easy. It is like there's obviously other ults that are like, more strategic, could be used well, blah blah blah, but it's like you can literally bring someone back to life
Yeah.
in a round.
Yeah.
Like that as a concept
It's the
is
definition of round changing.
that is so good. Yeah.
Yep. Cool. Sova.
Mm, I don't think it's that good.
I don't think it's great. I think it's
Pros
tough.
kind of pros kind of do stuff sometimes. Like they somehow like just find someone on the map.
Yeah, they
They
got
like
5 head though.
yeah,
They
but
know exactly what angles that they need to hit.
I don't think it's that good. I mean the whole move for like ever has been like post plant, just do it on the bomb, but it really doesn't delay that much.
I'd say
Uh,
if it could still break Killjoy ult, that was kind of like its big use case. Like you play
that's
Sova whenever people
true.
play Killjoy because you can break the ult. You can no longer do that now. So that has to knock it down.
But I
As
think
far
you
as
still can break it.
is it? I thought Killjoy ult was 200. Oh, maybe. Yeah.
It hits
Facts.
80. But it used to be it only took 2, now it takes
Now
3.
it takes all three. Facts.
That's
That's my bad.
but yeah, I don't know. I'd say probably like C.
Like
I don't think it's that good.
below the raise.
I'm gonna say above the race.
Yeah. Come on. Viper's Pit.
What do you think
This
about
one's
Viper's Pit?
interesting because
I
sometimes it's great and sometimes it's horrible.
I never find that much success in Viper's Pit, and I played a lot of Viper for a while, and I see other people do really well in it, and I don't know. It seems like you're giving away where you are. You're in an enclosed space. But when I play against Vipers, they seem to always kill me in their pit. So I
So
don't know.
what you're saying is there's a skill issue and
I haven't been
you're
playing Viper. I haven't been playing Viper recently, and it's been going good. So I don't want to play any more Viper.
yeah. What my hesitation is the way that people play around the Viper ult. I feel like people are maybe a little too overconfident in Viper's ability to hold her ult. So I'm thinking, Icebox has a lot of Viper on it, right? Early in the round, you get on top of 410, you're like, yo, I got A site solo. Y'all just go do your thing in mid and B, right? I feel like that's pretty common. Um, and then Sova comes in with a drone into your pit, darts you out of your pit, pushes you
So annoying.
back, and now it's a pretty weak sight hold. Um, I feel like it's just more common if you see a Viper's pit at the beginning of the round, you're like, let's go see if we can find her first. Um, and if you're successful, like it's almost like the Viper's pit is a target where I feel like
Yeah,
the original
you
intent,
know the Viper's in there. Like
yeah,
100% the Viper's in there.
feel like maybe the original intent was it for it to be like a deterrent, but I feel like people are almost attracted to wanting to find the Viper in the pit. Um,
Yeah. I mean, especially if you have a Sova or a
yeah,
Fade.
for the purpose of it though, it's pretty great. Um, I think it does change more rounds than a Sova ult or a Raze ult. Um, so I'd personally put it like in the B tier somewhere. Um, maybe like above Phoenix.
Mm, I'm fine with that.
Cool.
I don't know. I just have bad memories of playing Viper.
Yeah. So what do you think about the most used ult in comp, the Arena Empress?
I mean, in like in actual competitive play, it's pretty horrific, but in our lobbies and in low lobbies, it is banging.
Yeah.
It's super good. Um, I don't know.
I feel like that's the
Probably.
definition of C tier.
Yeah,
It's
I was
either
literally gonna
really
say
good or
C.
really not.
I was gonna say C.
Like above Sova, like top C tier.
Sure.
Killjoy.
Uh, it's it's good,
It's round
but
changing.
it is round changing.
You honestly plan. I'd probably say Killjoy ult almost more than any other ult. Whenever I'm sitting in and listening to our team play, or whenever we're playing comp or anything like that, whenever the other team has Killjoy ult, you make a note of the fact that hey, Killjoy ult's in play this round.
Yeah, it's
Or
very
whenever we have Killjoy
strategic.
ult, it's almost like insta, hey, I'm going A with Killjoy ult. Like there's no really ever pushback to that we're gonna use the Killjoy ult this round. So like it does command a lot of attention.
Yeah, no, it's definitely it's it's a thing that is like a lot of strategy and competitive thought goes into. I agree. It's definitely really good. I
Yeah.
just yeah. I think it's better than Cypher.
Yeah, I
I
was
don't know if
thinking
it
high
makes sense.
A, like the highest A. I
Yeah, yeah.
think you could make an argument for S tier, but I think right now I just want to have it at high A.
Yeah.
Sky ult.
Super good. So annoying. It's so I play so lurky. It's so annoying to get sky ulted.
Is
It's
it worse to get Sky ulted or Cypher ulted though? Because they're
I
essentially
think
giving a lot of the same information.
I think it's worse to get sky ulted. I was thinking about this right when we were doing Cypher. I think it's worse to get sky ulted because it's constantly chasing you until you deal with it. Whereas Cypher, it beeps twice and then you're good. But Sky, it's like you literally have to deal with it. Or you have to like accept getting stunned and then they know exactly where you are and you're stunned.
Hmm.
So I get more annoyed getting chased by the Sky ult than like getting bleeped by the Cypher.
Yeah,
So
and I feel like Sky is a 7. Is Sky a 7 point ult?
uh yes.
I was gonna say I think it is. Yeah, I would agree that Sky ult, and we're starting to see a lot of Sky in comp, in competitive and pro scenes. Like Sky Harbor's, getting pretty popular. I think Sky ult is a really solid ult as well. Does Sky ult deserve the S tier?
I don't think S tier. I think right above Cypher.
Just edging out kind of a very similar ult.
Yeah.
Yoru ult,
I think it's
not
good.
where your heart tells you it should be, but where your head tells you it should be.
I actually I think it's better than what my heart tells me because I get annoyed with the I don't make it look as clean as the Yaru mains on YouTube do. I
Hmm.
always I always get killed in my ult. But I think it's really good info if it's used right.
Yeah, I think it's
Um
phenomenal information if used right.
Ease of use. It's easy to just like get into it, but
And then
like
run around.
the hard part is like, oh crap, my time is running out. Get out of the Yaru ult, and then you're like in the middle of the enemy team and you just get bopped. So I think it takes a lot of like brain power to use.
Yeah. The usability aspect is there's a high skill level that a
It's
Yaru
cool
could
that you
benefit
can.
from.
Yeah, I think it's pretty decent. It's
Yeah.
cool that you can pick up bomb. I think it's like a B tier.
Yeah, I would put it like above I was going to say above Phoenix, but I don't know.
I'm down for either way, below or above.
I'll put it below. Every time I want to put it above, I just like so
Phoenix ult's pretty good.
Phoenix ult's pretty good. Astro ult.
You love Astra.
I think it's a
Um,
phenomenal ult.
it's good, but I don't know. It's not like incredible. I mean, my immediate thought is B.
Yeah. I think the ability to information in this game is everything, right? Why is Fade ult good? Cuts sound, cuts map, right? Astro ult, especially in, a post plant situation, you're forcing someone else to make a move. You're cutting all information off from them and you're forcing them to make a move. And whenever in a game information is everything, right? Like Sky, Cypher, Yoru, like information is so important. Whenever you're able to cut that away from someone, your chances I feel like have to drastically increase. I don't think it's like Astro Wall went down, game's over, right? It doesn't have that much power, but I think whenever a good Astra knows when to use the Astro Wall, it's insane. Like it becomes very good.
I agree.
Um, by itself,
Scenario specific scenarios for it, like it's really really good.
yeah,
Like it's the best for what it's good at. But you have to be really good at Astra, and you have to like know when to use it. And I think it's really niche.
Yeah.
Um,
I would agree with the saying that it's a niche because I would say most people probably just use it for a smoke wall.
yeah. And I think there's times where like you can go horribly wrong with the Astra Wall, and then it actually screws your team, and then like
That is true.
really bad.
Didn't
So
really I didn't really even think about, how bad can it mess up your team? Astra probably does. Astra and Breach probably do hit pretty negatively. So yeah, I feel like
yeah,
Astra is either like really, really good or really, really bad.
I'm thinking B. Like if you think about like a KO, like do the KO, no matter what I do, I'm not gonna mess up my team here.
Yeah.
Like Astra, you
Good.
can actually like ruin the round.
Yep. KO.
It's pretty good.
It's
Uh,
insane.
I mean,
It's like a
high.
Phoenix ult that stops the entire enemy team from being able to use any abilities.
It's not quite as good as Phoenix ult though, because like you're not guaranteed to get picked up. I'd say you probably get picked up less than 50% of the time. Like,
But being able to shut down the entire enemy team's util
no, no,
that's in
it's
range,
definitely good.
that's busted.
It's definitely good, but I think people use it like a Phoenix ult, expecting that they're gonna get picked up, and they
Agree with
don't
that.
get picked up. If it was like Phoenix ult, where it was like I'm definitely going to get a second chance at life, and I do that, yeah, it would be ridiculous. But in my experience as a KO, I like practically like rarely get rezzed, like
Yeah.
maybe 1 out of 4 times.
I think you do
Uh,
see at different levels of play, you see teams that use KO ult in like a post plant scenario to stall or shutting down information or preventing the other team from retaking with a killjoy ult or something like that.
I
So
think it's definitely really solid. I don't know how solid.
I think it's an A tier ult.
Yeah, I can agree. I'd say probably better than Sky.
Yeah. So doesn't know how good it is, puts it top three.
I mean, I personally am hurt by the fact of how many times I've been KO and I don't get rezzed. It's like I guess I don't really notice the
The
good
good.
uh the good of the fact that I'm taking away people's powers,
You're like, I
but
died, but I also got 4 assists and my team won the round.
well, I think of it like, oh, I'm KO, boom, I'm ulted up. Okay, I get a second chance at life, and then I'm on the ground, and then I don't get res. I'm like, crap sucks. But I'm sure
Chamber.
when you coordinate, it's really good.
Oh yeah, for sure. Didn't mean to jump the gun too early, but what do you think about my homie Chamber?
Chamber, I don't really see Chamber as
Think
much,
we need to
but
buff him.
I mean his ult is still really good. It's just like he doesn't have anything else to him other than his ult.
And they nerfed it.
Now I know they nerfed it, but it's still an op.
I think it needs to be faster again. Chamber needs some buffs. Riot. Chamber needs some buffs.
I don't want Chamber to. I hate Chamber.
Chamber needs to be played. He's just never going to get played.
Yeah, but his ult is really good. It's like, okay, he's got the op. What else does he have? Oh wait, nothing.
But I think his op is just good for 1 kill now. If you know how to play, like, oh, Chambers here, he got 1 kill, but he just TP'd away. He can only be like 3 places. Let's just go bum rush him.
Yeah, but then he can get number 2, and then he'll die. So you get 2.
How many? Yeah,
Free
how
2.
many times you hit number 2 though?
I don't know, because I don't see a lot of Chamber now, but
If he
I don't
had
play
if
Chamber.
he had his 2 TP anchor set up, his op would still be insane. But he doesn't. He's got 1, and it royally screwed him over.
I I think the op is good, but also I just hate Chamber, so I don't care. But I
I
don't want
think
us putting it on a D, and then Riot watches us, and then they're like, okay,
so
this is the
factual.
thing that sets it over the edge. These kids are putting him on a D. He needs a buff. I don't want him to get buff.
So let's just put him as low as C as possible. He'll still get buffed down there at a low C. He needs it.
Sure.
All right. What do you think of Emperor Palpatine?
Lightning fingers. I think in our rank and in lower ranks, it is pretty good. But
Once they made the change to headshots, the strength of this ult went crazy.
also skill ceiling though. The better you are, it's really good. Yeah. When I play a good Neon, I'm like insta dead.
Oh yeah, it's
Here, zerk,
melted,
dead.
absolutely melted.
Instantly dead. I still don't think it's that good though. I think it's like low B.
Yeah, I'm gonna put it above Yoru.
That's cool.
I think it has really good kill potential. It's another like free eco thing, but the fact that it has a timer that runs out does kind of suck
Yeah, that's
because
true.
teams can just avoid you. Fade ult
Good.
S tier.
Better version of Breach ult.
Yeah, better version. Pairs well with so many different pieces of utility. Changes the game. Changes the round. Gets rid of
8 now,
information.
right?
Huh?
Yeah, it is 8 now.
Yeah, it's 8 now. I
I
mean,
don't know. Uh, I think maybe Killjoy ult should move up to S and Fatal is like the top A.
really.
You think Fade is better than Killjoy?
I mean, Fatal guarantees that anyone I hit's going to half health.
I know, but it's only like for a few
And
seconds.
think about how the usability of the Fatal. I can use the Fatal anywhere on the map and get value out of it in a scenario. That is not the same with Killjoy ult. Use your Killjoy ult on B site on defense, waste. Use your Fatal on B site defense, then you push out, front site B or grass, not a waste, right? Like I just feel like the fade ult is so much more versatile. A really good fade knows how to play it. You set up your teammates really well. Like I think it's so powerful. I think it's more powerful than Killjoy ult. I
Sure.
personally think I would put it above Sage ult, but I feel like you probably wouldn't let me do that.
No way. Resurrection. Power to resurrect. I don't really like Fatal that much, but I will agree.
What is it? What is it about the fade ult that you just don't like?
I just think it's not. I think it's similar to Breach, but I obviously like Fade better. I think that it's not conclusively doing something that like I can feel incredibly confident in. Like I can Fatal and I can hear that I marked a bunch of people, and then I can peek around the corner and get one tapped, and I'm dead. Like
It just
theoretically.
sounds like you peek a lot of corners and you get one tapped.
Yeah, I mean, I just when I Fatal, right when I push it out, something goes on in my brain where I get really confident, and I'm like, everything in front of me is now weaker than me. Let me go and kill them. But then when I peek and I get one tapped, then I'm like, well, that was a waste. That sucked. And they can still see me. They can still fight me. But like Killjoy, it's literally like the pressure's off me. Y'all have to come and get me now. And if you don't come and get me, or if you don't run away, then you're gonna be immobilized and I will kill you. But to me, that's like, I like that in my mind better because I can feel confident in it rather than potentially get one tapped.
I think that was a good justification. For your efforts, I moved your killjoy up to S tier.
Thank you. It's like I never use Fatal to get kills. I just use Fatal usually for like info for
Yeah.
the most part.
Fair. Harbor. We talked about Harbor's ult not too long ago.
All right.
Has potential to be good.
Similar to, honestly, in my mind, similar to Fade and Breach. Like I kind of put it on a site and then I use it as initiation.
Yeah.
I
So
think it's weaker, um, definitely than Fade's. I hate breach ult, so
I
I
think
don't know.
realistically it's weaker than breaches.
It
Because
probably is.
in a breach ult, you know they're stunned.
I know. It probably is. I just
I
hate
don't think
breach
it's
ult.
worse than Omen, but I think it has a lot of potential. But for how we're ranking things, I don't think it can go over breaches ult.
Yeah.
And last but not least, our newest buddy Gecko.
So,
This one's tough.
because it's so good sometimes, and then sometimes someone shoots 5 Vandal bullets into his belly, and you lose your ult. Um, I think it's definitely in the top 50%. The fact that you can use it twice is broken. When you actually detain people, super good. Is it better than Sky? Is it better than Cypher?
It's tough.
I think it's
This one's tough for me.
I think it's
I
I think
think
it's better than Brimalt.
I think in theory it sounds like it's gonna change around. Right? You're like, oh, let me Gecko ult. I'll just detain him. And then it breaks, and you're like, I didn't do anything besides just skydog him. Right? And the skydog didn't even hit. So that part is very like that's gotta be very demoralizing. But when it does hit, it's free kill. I mean, we're looking at Killjoy ult in S tier. Gecko is just a mobile one-shot Killjoy ult. So that's S tier, right? But if we ranked Skydog on this list, that's D tier.
Yeah.
So it's got to float somewhere in between those. I don't think it changes around. I think it's going to be used for like fringe kills, maybe lurk kills, catching somebody out of position.
I think it's the lowest A tier. I think it's one better than Brim.
I think you could wreck some kids in a Viper ult with a Gecko.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Actually, I never thought about that. Yeah, they're stuck in there.
So is this what we're working with? Looking back at it, is there anything that you'd change? Is there anybody that is too high, too low compared to someone that they're sitting next to that you'd move them? What are your thoughts?
Put the fade up to the worst S, just so it looks cleaner.
Okay.
Um,
I don't know if
bring the.
I'm for sure cool with Gecko at the end of A tier, but I've
You think
also
it's
not
worse?
I've not seen yeah, I would say it was worse, but I've also not seen enough of it yet to justify it being worse than like I don't know.
I don't think the world of it. I
I
just.
don't but it's in A tier.
I know, but it's the lowest A tier. Like right now, it's sitting at 8th place out of 20. So like
Yeah,
that's barely top 50%.
that's fair. So do you think that being said, do you think that Astra, Neon, Yoru, Reyna, Sova, Raze, Chamber, Breach, Harbor, Omen are the worst half of ults in this game?
Yeah, I can agree with that.
Yeah. I don't think this is terrible. I think this is decent given the factors that we gave ourselves. Um, be interested to hear what you guys think. Whenever y'all get a chance to listen, would love to see how you would have moved people around differently. Um, and how wrong you think we are. And if you want to share that, you can do it on our Twitter. You can do it on our YouTube. You can do it on our TikTok. It's all two bots, one game, all spelled out. And if you ever want to join us live on stream, turn on your notifications for DCP Al Sully because you never know when it's gonna happen and when it's gonna pop up because we don't either. Um, thank you guys for your support and always listening and engaging with the content. We appreciate it, and we want to continue being able to provide it for you guys, and to help grow um, the brand and the dream that we started, to be a force and a factor in the esports world. So appreciate the support as always, and we'll catch you guys next time. Thanks.